Hi, this is Tom Harten with the CGESPAX program of Calvert County Public Schools. I was a member of the 2010 cohort of teachers for the Japan-US Teacher Exchange for ESD. I'm here today to talk to you about a project that I think lends very well to SDG Goal 14, Life Underwater. And that's a project that we've started doing in the last couple of years with our 8th grade students that I think would be a great opportunity for collaboration with my Japanese colleagues, just as we're getting some data collected from our students for this project. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, and this is typical of the streams that our students will investigate. This is a stream in a forested area. We try to pick streams in wooded locations. The forest and the stream we know have a very positive connection to one another. The streams are not very big. It'd be easy for an 8th grade student or even maybe an 8th grade teacher to jump across this little body of water. They're not very big. And the project, we try to connect that land use with life underwater. We try to make the students understand that connection between how we use the land, whether it's our agricultural practices or industrial practices, or just the day-to-day use of our individual citizens and the health of that ecosystem and the integrity of that biodiversity. Our essential question, we pose this question to our students at the beginning of the project, and that is, what does the biodiversity of these stream animals tell us about the health of the stream? These animals tell a story about the aquatic health, underwater health. And it starts really with rainfall. So some of my Japanese colleagues may recognize this. This is our CGESPAX facility. We've been here for a number of years. And I went out one day on a rainy day and I just collected some video. The idea of this is to show just how even on a very small scale that land use has an effect on water. And you can see it was a rainy day. We can see lots and lots of rain hitting the ground, and around that garden, around the grassy fields, that water is seeping into the ground. It's going to slowly travel back to the stream. Whereas this sort of a solid surface, the concrete, the walkway, the water pools up and is already beginning to form some erosion, and that water will quickly enter back into the stream. So when we meet with our students, we start with this. We show them the Google Earth image of the stream that we're investigating. And I drew in, just so you could see a little bit better, the course of the actual stream. That blue line is the course of the stream in this little area. So we can see all that green. It represents a lot of forested areas. And we know, as I mentioned earlier, there is that positive connection between the forest and the stream. The trees do a lot of filtering and prevent an excessive amount of erosion. In this photo, we talk also about things like agriculture. We can see some farm fields surrounding this watershed. Roadways, these streets. Here in Maryland, when we get a threat of snow or ice, the town puts salt on the roads. So that salt, while it does prevent the snow and ice from melting and refreezing, it also presents potentially a hazard to the stream as that salt runs off into the waterway. We also talk about, again, these individual homes and the impact that an individual homeowner or an individual 8th grader could have on stream health. So I want to just take you to one of our streams. This is actually behind one of our school buildings. And we can see we look for water like this that's flowing. I want you to look also at the leaves. The leaves are an essential part of the story. All summer long, those leaves are absorbing the sun's energy. And then in the autumn, they fall down on the ground. They fall into the water where they're going to become the base of the food chain. The insects, the aquatic insects, many of them feed on the leaf material. They in turn become food for other animals. And then even things like small fish live in the stream and become part of our food chain here. So this project incorporates that idea of the leaves as a way to measure stream health. So prior to the scheduled class, we measure out, or we sometimes have the students measure out 30 grams of dried leaves in each of these little mesh bags, these green mesh bags. They're bundled together in sets of about 4 to 6 per class of 25 to 30 students. We add a few small stones to weigh the bags down in the stream, and then we place them in the stream itself. We tie them off, and we leave them for a period of about 10 days in each of the streams. And over that period of time, the insects begin to move in, feeding on the leaves, feeding maybe a little bit on the algae that might be accumulating on the leaves, or using the leaves just as a simple hiding place. So those leaves are, again, an essential part of the ecosystem. Prior to the actual class, we collect the leaves, a teacher collects the leaves, and then we have them ready to do our lab the next day or that day. So here are the simple materials. Again, nothing too scientific. We get a little plastic ice cube trays for each group, and we normally have the students work in groups of about 4 to 5 students per team. We use these little eyedroppers over here to as a tool for collecting the insects, along with things like plastic spoons. And then we have an identification key that the students will use to learn what animals they actually capture. And then, of course, the hand lenses make it a little bit easier for the students to see what they find. And here's a close-up of the keys. Relatively simple. They're not very difficult for an 8th grader to use, and I believe you could probably do this with younger students as well. And we've kind of highlighted a couple of things there about these insects. They are sensitive to pollution, so they become that indicator of water quality for us. The tools, again, as we mentioned, are easy and inexpensive. And then finally, it's useful for long-term monitoring. We're sort of new to this project, just a couple years underway. But I think over time, as we look at these different streams, we can it'll start to tell a bit of a story about the trends of the streams. So here's how it sets up. So the students get a kind of a large plastic box. They place their leaf material in there along with some water, some fresh water. And then they just carefully look through those leaves, trying to find any animals that might be hiding in there. The discarded leaves are here on this little blue tray, and then the white ice cube tray is used as a sorting station to put their insects. And you can see some of the other tools. And you can see just how focused these students are looking for these bugs. They're very engaged with this project. And here's just a few of the little bugs that they've sorted out. Again, they try to divide them up into these containers. Then later, we'll use that key that I showed you to find out what species they've captured. After the completion of the sort, they will then score the stream. Animals that are on this far right-hand column here, these are animals that are very sensitive to pollution, are very tolerant to pollution. So they're going to get a point. It is part of the biodiversity, so we still provide 1 point for each species. So if they find aquatic worms, they get a point for aquatic worms. Or if they see some snails, they get a point for that. Or leeches, they get a point for that. And then in the middle category, these are bugs that can handle some pollution, but perhaps not too much. Those are worth 2 points. And again, it's per species. So if they find a dragonfly larva, or if they find 10 dragonfly larvae, it's still just the 2 points. We're trying to get that diversity of animals. And then finally, this left-hand column, these are the insects that are very sensitive to pollution. Those will be worth 3 points per species, and those are the desirable ones. If we see those insects in the stream, those that can't handle very much pollution, we know that stream is probably going to be in pretty good shape. So in the end, we use those scores, and at the bottom, the students will give a water quality rating for the stream that they have. So here's just a short video. It's about 2 minutes, just to show you some of the different types of bugs that we encounter on one of our classes. Riffle beetle. This is a stud or amphipompon. This is a dragonfly. Many of our students don't realize that dragonflies spend their lives in the water. This is an insect called a water boatman. And this is one of the casemaker caddisflies. These insects actually build that case of sticks or small stones or sand or leaves and live inside that case. This is a crane fly larva. This is a damselfly, a relative of the dragonfly. And this is the mayfly. This is one of those sensitive flies. That provide more points for our score and indicate where it's This is a midgefly larva. This insect will live in the stream and then emerge as a small frog. And this is known as a pelgramite or Dobson fly larvae. These get quite large, up to maybe a couple of centimeters. And these are predators. They'll feed on other insects in the stream. These are one of the top predators. So again, just returning to our central question, this is what we want the students to be able to answer, is how this biodiversity tells us about the health of that local stream. I hope to have the opportunity to share this with you more and maybe find some way to collaborate with some of my colleagues in Japan and in the US. So thank you.